everybody. This is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3, broadcasting out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. We're also on Roku. It's cable television for those who don't know cable television, which I'm on that list. I'm more of an internet person, and I can see this show and other great UPRN shows on Facebook, YouTube, X, and on the UPRN website. That would be uprn.com. So I hope everybody is getting ready for Halloween. It's a time that's close between the veils. And as somebody said to me the other day, the veils do not exist. We just make it that way. So that means that everything is close at hand. But I do love this time of the year, and going to go out and actually go to a party myself and do water activations. New hobby of mine, activating water, putting energies into water, and then serving it up to people and creating a higher vibration through the water. So that's going to be really fun for Halloween. And yeah, so I'm back in the United States, back in Austin, Texas. And it's good to be back. And we're hoping for rain and cooler weather. But that's enough said about that. I just want to come and welcome our guest on, who's so appropriate for Halloween, being that he is a medium. Hi, Cledstone. This is
Hey, Bart.
Cledstone Jordan, Vice President of the Spiritualist Church of Austin. Did I get that right?
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Perfect. First
and
Spiritualist Church of Austin.
yes,
Yes.
and it is down in the Hyde Park neighborhood, which is north of the UT campus at the blocks of 42nd and Avenue D. A little bitty church that's been there for a very long time, but has a real dedication to mediumship, spiritualism, uh, not so much of a religious context, but right there living in spirit. So when you go, spirit is going to show up, to say the least. And so you would call yourself a medium. That's that a good description of one of the many things you are?
I would call myself a psychic medium. And we're going to have to just define medium at some point there. But yeah, I would say I'm a psychic medium or a shaman, and which means I have one foot in the physical world and one foot in the spiritual world at all times. So that's kind of how I would describe myself.
Yeah, and that's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of overlapping when we start talking of those terminologies and stuff. Uh, with that, in the spiritualist church, really is a lot about the focus of talking with those who've passed over uh, and using those energies, communicating. Of course, when you're in the church, you're also doing hands-on healing as well. But maybe we should start with, what is the spiritual world like? What is the spirit world like?
I looked at that. That was it's not just a broad question because the spirit world is everything other than what we're seeing right now. Everything is spirit. Everything is energy. And so when you talk about the spirit world, the only real main difference is that you're not carrying a body with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? It all
Uh-huh.
exists. Everything exists there. And
Yep.
just that on this plane, then we just have a body that we deal with, right? But
Yep.
it's all there.
Yeah. So it's people walking through the spirit without a body. And, that always brings up these questions with me of that. Uh, do these people kind of stay intact in this reality and plane? Do they still stay clear without a body, like they can remember everything and
Mhm.
such?
So the most important thing is going to be that you are an everlasting being or soul,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you've lived many lives. If we're talking about a linear space, you live many lives. And so that's a accumulation of energy or thoughts or emotions of all your lives. So on that side, you're in touch with all of yous and all your iterations. The difference is here when we incorporate into this body, then not all of us is here. Some of us is on the outside of it. Like your body is in your soul because your
Mm-hmm.
soul is so vast, right? And so everything else is outside there. But the task is to bring that outside or heaven as you're in the body, right? We're accustomed to being, okay, you passed away, you get to know everything. Our task now is that we bring that information while we're still breathing. That's the big thing is evolution or the ascension. That's what you're doing. You're bringing heaven here, right? All those things we think happens when we go there, we're bringing all those things right here. Or we're just being aware because, and I was talking to you earlier, there is no there, right? Everything is here right now, just in different vibrations. If we talk vibrations, we're going to talk about ice and water and steam. The same thing, different vibrations, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you explain that.
So it would be really cool if you could take all of your knowing and all of your experiences that you have known and be aware of it all at one time in the
Right,
same consciousness. So
right.
bringing into spirit world of who you are and maybe also of others can help you do that. Is that what I'm getting from you?
Yes, yeah, we can. I mean, everybody has these abilities. Everybody has this body of work. You can
Mm-hmm.
either call it the Akash or the Akashic record, where everything you've ever done, everything you ever will do, is in this library called the Akash, and everybody has access to it. It's just that if you're not in a certain vibration, where if you're always mad, then it will be too much for you. But if you're in a meditative state and you're calm, then you're able to access more and more information. So it's almost like a check valve, right?
Almost like if your vibration is high enough or expansive enough. Those are very typical words, but I don't know better words, but they
Mhm.
align with these frequencies of what your experience is from other lifetimes and other places or other dimensions. Then they can come in.
Right.
Yeah,
It's it's just like the law of attraction. Long as you get to a certain vibration, then anything that is that same vibration gets attracted.
mm,
Right? So, hey, I like music. So, at some point, you were a musician in some past, future time, and you can go access that information and bring that information here. But you have to be, again, in that whole vibration, like, hey, I know what I'm doing. This is what I used to do. And you feel it. And it's almost like the veil disappears,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
that's how that kind of works.
yeah. And we hear some of these stories about people that, when they awaken, all of a sudden they might start playing a guitar the way they never have before, or they never played the guitar and suddenly they're playing the guitar because they have, in some way, shape, or form, access that vibration
Right.
frequency.
Right. Yeah. It's like like you'll see the small children who are at 2 years old, 3 years old, are playing the piano. And if you actually notice that, you'll look at them and they have all the movements and all the features and facial expressions as if they've been playing for 50 years, right?
Mm,
So that's
yes.
saying, yeah, they're connected directly then to that part of themselves that already did that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's, I don't know. You can't say that that's like, oh, they got a freebie or something, but it more like gives you opportunity for more things to show up.
Right,
It's just one step in that process.
right,
Uh, who knows? They may come up with phenomenal intuitive abilities that they never knew later down the road, or something else, if they keep
right,
on through this process.
right. And if it's a freebie, it's going to be like they earned that. I earned my freebie then. And if somebody else is saying that, it's like, well, I got freebies too. Let me go get them. So it's not a negative thing. It's
Yeah,
like a freebie. Okay, if you can do
I
that, then I can do that. So,
I like a
you
freebie.
know,
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you. I'll take a dozen, please.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, I just, to me, it's all about practice.
Yeah.
And, with that, and I would, and, and that's what people say. It's like, oh, well, how did you get that? Did you born with that? And I'm going, heck no. I grew up in a redneck family watching John Wayne movies, you know? Uh, so yeah, it wasn't in my reality.
I mean,
However,
you were born with it. We're just not aware that we're
I-
born with it, right?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I was brought up on an island, I told somebody the other day, it's like, when you say carrying water, for you, that's carrying water from the refrigerator to the desk. But for me, carrying water means I go to the standpipe down the street, I fill up 2 buckets, and I carry them, for half a mile from there to my house. Right.
Well,
So, you know,
yeah, yeah, it's a different interpretation.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we all are aware. We all are born with it. You said the first earlier words was practice, right? You just have to practice. That's all you have to do. I mean, again, I was born with it, but I didn't know until I started practicing and started trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And when you go through those processes, those workshops, and then kind of find out nothing was really wrong with me, right? It's just these things that they were taught that other people didn't know what they were teaching. But it's just practice, practice. Being a medium is practice. You don't get to be a medium and then, oh, I reach, I've arrived, I have nothing to do. It's a
Hmm.
constant practice, a constant growth. For me, it's constant researching. Like the more I research, it's like there's much more. Oh my God. The more I research, it's like, oh, there's even much more. So it's a continuous practice, a continuous
Yeah.
learning process.
So for you, it's part mental in that you're reading and you're studying, and then there's that adventure into the other worlds.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about what that other world is for you, and what that feels like and looks like?
For me, it and I don't go there often, right? But it's
Hmm.
just glimpse of this place where everything is available to me. Anything is possible. When you go there, there's certain loving feeling that's felt that I can't explain. I can't explain it. It's like I'm engulfed in it. So it's all
Mm.
about love, and there's birds that are walking, right? There's animals that are talking. Like everything is possible and anything is possible. And so you just go in and you just relax, and almost like I meet my other self. I meet my higher self. I meet my inner being. I meet my spirit guides. I meet my gatekeeper. And what I'm understanding is these are just different parts of me that I'm meeting, right? And
Wow.
so it's almost like this is our own world, and everything is me, and it's your own world, and everything is you, right? And anything you want to know is there. So it's hard to explain. I go there sometimes and it's like,
Oh,
wow.
you're doing great. I love it.
Yeah, it's expansive. It's like they always say, you, you know, 10%, 10% of stuff. And
Hmm.
then 20% is I know I don't know. And then
Yeah.
70% is I don't know that I don't know. So there's so much out there,
Yeah.
but it's all accessible to us. We just have to get ourselves in a certain vibration. And again, I'm not going anywhere. These things just become accessible as like they always were there. We are just not aware
Yeah.
that they were just like right there. Like your grandfather that passed away is right there,
Mm.
right? They didn't go to heaven or they didn't go to hell. They just changed form and they're right there and everything is just right there. But we're not taught that. So we go looking. It's like, this is what the guy said to me. It's like, have you ever lost your glasses and realized that they're on top of your head? Everything is always there. Have you like, where's my cell phone? I got it in my hand. Everything is always there, has always been there. We're just looking away and you will never find it, but you will get tips on that. Hey, I need to look back here, right? I need
Mm.
to focus inside, right? And then I'll find whatever it is I'm looking for. But we're not taught that. We're taught to let's go over here and look over here, right? Let's go look over there, which is just, it's an okay ride. It's just lessons along the way, but it's a cumbersome route to go all the way back to where it started first. So that's how they explained that to me.
Wow. It really brings up two questions.
Hmm.
What vibration do I need to become to see more of the other side? And what vibration do I need to transform or let go of to be able to see more on the other side?
Easy, easy, easy. And there's no such thing as negative and positive, but those are the two vibrations. Like if I'm joyful, if I'm feeling good, right? If I see somebody who is homeless and I can see, the God in them, and I bless them and I say, I hope everything works out for you, even if I give them nothing, right? If
Yeah.
I see goodness everywhere, then that's a positive vibration. Then I can attract more of the same, right? If I look at that same homeless person and I'm thinking they should get a job, why don't they dress up, right? Then to me, that's a negative connotation on the same thing, right?
Yep.
So one is going to take you and expand your vibration, raise your vibration. The other one is going to just keep you in that space where you are as a lower vibration. So then
Yep.
you can attract certain things, right?
So true. It's so
Yeah,
comfortable to stay in your same patterns.
yeah.
And that's, one of the keys to having this awareness. You said something because you talk a lot at the church. Uh, you lecture. Let's just put it that way instead of talk a
Hmm.
lot. That makes you sound like all kinds of
Running
connotations.
my mouth. I do that.
But
I
you
do that.
said mediumship is a broad expansion of consciousness. Of course, I'm using my own words,
Right.
and that could be anything from talking to your cat to communing with a tree or the earth or
Hmm.
somebody that's transitioned to the other side. Did I get that right?
No, that is correct. And so a medium, you're just in the middle between this side and that side. You're taking this message from here and showing it over here. And we're
Mm.
all are mediums. So my thing right now is that, there's certain mediums, trance medium and being clairvoyance, I can see, and clairaudience, I can hear, clairsentience, I can kind of feel and things like that. But we want to broaden that, almost bring that into the normal world. And so the example I use is Michael Jordan is a medium. He just doesn't know it, right? Because what he does is he gets in that zone and he is so positive about it. I can make that. I don't care what you tell me. He gets in this zone And so he's taking this spirit energy and bringing it into this physical world, and then he can make a basket. And sometimes he does like this. I don't know, right? But
Yep.
you're a medium. You just don't know. You took that spirit and you got in that vibe, and then you can make anything, and anybody can do that. They call
Yeah.
it the zone. You get in this zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? You get in this zone where almost you don't hear the crowd anymore. All you hear is this thing inside me that says, "I can do that. I can do that. I can do that." So that's how we got to take this mediumship from this religious spiritual thing and just bring it into the normal world for normal people can understand. Hey, you're a medium. For me, my mediumship is that I've read for 20 years, and so now I can explain things almost like a baby can understand. I got that from Bob Marley. Explain it as if a baby can understand it. If not, I got to go back to the drawing board. And but
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their own thing that they would do. I would lecture for nothing. I lecture for nothing right now, right? So you got to find something that you would do if you were richest and didn't have to work. That what makes you take? Some people it's art. Their mediumship is art. Some people's mediumship is running, right? Where they get in. I used to do that when I was used to run around Town Lake, the 3 mile loop, and I would be running. The first, half a mile, you're breathing. It's like, oh my God, I don't even know if I really want to do this. And then at some point, you don't even know that you're running. There are people that would stop my body, like, I saw you running, but you didn't see me. That's because you got in that zone. You just got connected to the spirit energy, that like is the loveliest thing, and it grabs you, you know. And so mediumship comes in every single form you can think, anything.
Yeah.
So everybody's a medium. They just got to find out, what do I like to do?
Any
That what.
Yeah, any advice about that of how people find that? Because uh, you know, it it's you're right, everybody has it. And a lot of people are frustrated with it because they don't feel like they found that specialness about them.
Right.
Uh, you
Because they
know,
have, right. So they have to just reinvent mediumship again, right? It's just not the pastors can do it, right? It's just not the person that study can do it. Everybody can do it. And it's what do
yeah,
you like to do? What do you like to do? Even if you like to just read, you can be enlightened by just reading. You can get
yeah,
enlightened by just running, right? That's you just gotta and so that's how we're gonna bring this to the layman. What do you like doing?
yeah,
And you can change it. Let me try this. If that's not it, then we know what. Let's try something else. Oh, that's good. But most people are like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And then you don't grow, right?
yeah, yeah. I think it's something you get out of your head, you quit thinking, and something else shows up. And one of the words that I like to think of is you're energized, you're excited. There's something that you feel bigger inside of yourself when you're doing that particular thing.
Right.
Um, and
Totally agree.
it's not always about psychic abilities and such. Uh, and it's funny, but people with psychic abilities, how they developed. Because what I've seen is what you know what do they wish to serve? Some people they wish to have a really special skill like read auras or something or channel, and that's how it shows up. Other people want to serve other people. It's
Hmm.
you know for me, I work a lot in releasing emotional traumas because I find that fascinating,
Right.
and it's serving.
Hmm.
Uh, it, it's just interesting how it keeps evolving when you find that excitable zone inside of yourself. And it doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
one thing.
Right. No, it's 'cause really once you find that piece of it, like I had this friend. His name is Melvin. He passed away, and he knew. so much. I would go visit him. He knew so much about basketball and sports, and I would go in there with my spiritual perspective. And it's almost like, if you know so much about that, you connected to that thing, you connected to the whole spiritual vibe through the sports. Whereas I
Hmm.
went through the shamanic approach through the books. And so we met in the middle, and it was a wonderful thing just to listen to him, talk about sports, everything about it, and me talk
Mm.
about spirituality, everything about it. And there was some commonality in there,
Hmm.
you know so it was, again, it can come from any kind of anything. Like you mentioned, nurses, that's a special talent, right?
Yeah.
That's your mediumship, is to help is to help people. And really, in helping people, you're really helping yourself, because, as they say, it's all one world, one thing, right? So as you're helping people, you're helping yourself, right?
Yeah. It really brings up this thing because when we start talking about the deceased in the other world, people often want to go to the dark side because of the horror movies and such.
Mm-hmm.
That and there are legitimate dark forces out there that people are accessing, thinking it will get them power. But
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is all the power that we ever require, it's already available to us.
We were born with everything we ever need to do anything we want, go anywhere we wish, right? We were born with everything, with this ability to create things out of nothing, right? In fact, that brings up Baba G. Again, most of this is
It's
the physical
I,
mediumship, right?
spe-
Where
uh,
you,
you,
uh
you hang that. I want you to explain Baba Chi
uh
and go into that. But before
right?
you do, it's midpoint into the show, and I want
Okay.
to tell everybody that you are with Cledstone Jordan, Vice President of the Spiritualist Church of Austin, spiritualist, medium, crystal skull healer, um, and generally wise person. You can find him on Facebook at Crystal Healer, but also Cledstone Jordan, Cledstone, Cledstone Jordan. And you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. I am Bart Sharp, and this is the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of New Orleans, Louisiana, on Roku, X, Facebook, YouTube, and other internet platforms. So, Babachi, who is Babachi and why is Babachi important?
Right. And so we're talking about physical mediumship, where we take something from spirit and make it physical. So Babaji, he was I call him a yogi for lack of a better word. And so what he would do is he would have this crowd of people in out front of his dwelling. And what he would do is he would materialize bread that people could eat. So he can materialize physical objects. And it's not magic. It's just the fact that we all create this thing called ectoplasm. uh and with that ectoplasm we can create whatever we want, right? The way you can see this ectoplasm is, what we used to do is we would have this, it's called a black box, right? It's a big box, everything is black,
Mm-hmm.
black curtains, and we have a front where you can open, and we would have somebody sit in there. We would sing and get the vibes up, and everything would be dark. We may have a red light, but at some point, 10, 15, 20 minutes into it, you can open the blinds and you can see this kind of a smokiness, right? That, and everybody has it, and that's called ectoplasm. And from that, then you can just make things, right? Like the Star Trek, you can just make things, and it's not magic, it's just natural law. We all have the ability to do that. We don't know it, so we create things that we don't know. Oh, I don't know. So then we create an entity of I don't know. But Babaji did that. So when we talk about Jesus and creating the fishes and the loaves, that's now something physical. That's something. scientific. Like it is possible to do that. He didn't just like, oh, magic, here you go. There is a process to creating things out of the ether, right?
Yes. So that's a big process, or no, let's not define it. But
Right.
if we're just, you and I, what are some of the good steps we can use to create ectoplasm and be aware of that, create stronger forms of it? And by the way, Babaji is really great to invite if you wish to go astral traveling or into the spirit world. He's still very active and available. I know a lot of people who meditate with Babaji, as I have, and he's he's there.
Hmm.
Call him up and he will show up. But let's
I
go back to
agree.
the ectoplasm
Hmm.
concept.
So we're gonna go back again because it's all about energy. What are you? What level are you vibrating at? Right? Are you always happy? Or are you always sad? Are you 50% happy, 50% sad? You have to raise your vibration. Like we have all these chakras, in our bodies. I call them rheostats because depending on how high your vibration is, right, you can tune it up, tune it down. So, like a Jesus, his chakras say they were running at, 80, 90, 95%. Ours are running at like 30%. So, there's certain things that man could do that we can't do. And it's only because we haven't revved up our energy, we haven't revved up our engine, right? Or there's
Hmm.
so many things we can do that, like if we can be in a good place, be quiet, not yell at the neighbors, right? Not yell at the person pulling out in front of you, right? There's certain little things constantly that you have to do. I didn't get this way overnight. It's just practice, practice. Like I used to yell at people in front of me, but once I realized that that has nothing to do with them, it has to do with me and my vibration, right? So the way I turned that around was, what if you knew that person and you knew that person was going to the hospital to see their mother for the last time? Would you think different? Yes. And so everybody that pulls out in front of me, that's what I think. Okay, you have some way more important to go than I do, bless you. And so that's how you're going to keep raising your vibration, because you have to attract these things, right? And
Yes.
that's how you, and it's so easy things. You wake up in the morning, are you grateful? Are you grateful that, hey, my legs are working today? Because I know some people that don't, right? My hands are working today. When was the last time you thanked your feet for walking you, for me, 66 years, right? I do that. There's a meditation I go through every single part, internal parts, exterior parts. How often do you do that? Or do you just take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the things that we need to do, to get to raise our vibration. And then these things will just magically, even though they're not magic, well, you'll just attract them.
Yeah.
Answers will come. You could be reading a book, you could be watching television, and all of a sudden, here's the answer, right? The spirit will show it to you, but it's just you're in that vibration, and spirit says, I said this on Sunday, right? The universe is just a big copy machine, and whatever you put in, it's going to kick it back to you. So why not put in something positive and get more out? Right? It's that easy. Just to do nice little small things. Do things for people that they will never ever be able to repay you. Like say good morning and not expect an answer back because I want to say good morning. Right? Say I
Yeah.
love you, not expect anything back because I feel love, right? Those are the little things that you can do right now to help you raise your vibration, and then you'll attract all these other things that I'm not even aware of, that are attached to you, that are only for you, that you can bring to you, right?
I like to be in that question of, oh, this could be fun. It's like a smile at somebody,
Hmm.
and you don't have a point of view, but it could be fun to smile at that person. And sometimes they smile back and sometimes they don't, but
Right,
it opens something in me, and
right,
it's a constant building a chi energy that
absolutely.
you are with that. And when you do have that connection, So you smile, they smile back, and this could be, of course, deeper and deeper applications, but you magnify each other's energy.
Right.
So it's always building, always growing,
Right. Right.
and this is part of the ectoplasm.
Right. You're just building that energy that you can use later. Right. It's like I call it a bank. So you do something good for somebody, you're depositing into your positive bank. And
Yeah,
you keep doing that and you keep building. And if you do something negative, you take something out of your bank. Right. And you're not going to always be positive. Sometimes you fall off, you get back on. Okay, I understand why I went there. Let me just go back. Let me just get back on and
yeah,
and keep accumulating this positive energy. Most people can't do that for. Look, I got this from Abraham. Can you go 17 seconds without a negative thought? Right? Like,
hmm,
and then what happens is 17 seconds, it magnifies and triples and quadruples and becomes more. So it's like this, right? I want a red car, but I can't afford it. So in 1 second, I've created a red car. In the next second, I've balanced it negatively. The red car, never get it. Right? But if I
yep,
want a red car and I can see, oh, this is shiny. Oh, look, I can put some rims on here, right? It's like, oh, let me get these windows tinted. Oh, it has a roof. Oh, it has a sunroof. Oh, I can feel the air. I can feel the sun. I can feel the wind. Let me roll it back some more. Let me go get it cleaned, right? And so if you can go 17 seconds and the magnifies, and then you can go 17 more, and I swear, in a few months you can have a car because you
yes,
have everything that you need to create this car. And the universe says he's offering this vibration, let me match it. And really, it's that easy, right? It's that
yeah.
easy. It
It's all
just takes
willing to
practice.
connect. And it's
Yeah.
not about the red car, it's just about you constantly building and the adoration you have for yourself that you feel good.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and that is the power of being a medium because you're building your energetic field to where you can expand into whatever you want to expand.
Right. Correct. And like for me, I'm building my, like, if I'm gonna have a session like this session with you, to me this is a session. So I
Hmm.
got in this room an hour ahead and I was building up. I was like, I've read that book, let me unplug this light, let me get into certain positive energy so that whatever comes through from spirit is positive for us and for whoever is watching now, whoever is going to watch later, because that's how things work, right? Everything is happening like right now. So even when somebody watches this a year from now, it's going to be right now, right?
Yep.
So, right. So that's how we want to start looking at these things. Like I mentioned this as well. It's like if you knew you were going to live 700 years, would you do the same things you're doing today? Right? No, I doubt it. So that's how we got to start thinking about these things. Like, oh, because we are living that long, right? Our soul lives that long. Remember, physically, we used to live 700 years. We don't anymore because of what we ingest, right? What we ingest into our mouth, what we ingest into our brain, into our psyche. Those are the things that are keeping us from not doing that. But it is possible, to do
Yes.
that. So that's how you're going to raise your vibration. Just being aware of these things. These things are available. I can do this. I can run faster than anybody else,
Yes.
right? I can, like Usain Bolt, right? To me, he runs fast enough just to beat everybody. He doesn't run as fast as he could, right? He
Hmm.
can run faster than that, but his thing is, I can just beat everybody, right? So he can do more than he ever thought as well, right? We just don't think that way, we just don't think that way. So it's just a matter of perspective. Just change our perspective a little bit. Let's just tweak a little bit. This is possible. And what I was going to say about even Baba G, if you see somebody do it, then you should be able to say, I can do that,
If you can
right?
see it, yeah, if you had the vision and you're actually able to see that reality, what it is, in a way, you are creating it inside of yourself. And
Right,
maybe a question is, well, what would it take for that to show up in my life?
right. What do I
Uh,
need to do? Yeah, you just see
yeah,
it. You just have to imagine it. Right. Again, everything that has ever been done, ever will be done, is already done.
yeah,
Long
and
as you
just
get in your that vibration, then you can attract that thing that's already happening. Right?
and it's
Already happened.
just as you heard the Baba Chi or the Jesus story about creating bread, and you
Hmm.
go into skepticism, like, well, how could they do that? There's no
Hmm.
wheat or grain there possible,
Right.
or whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
you quit seeing it,
Yeah,
as opposed
absolutely.
to what is the embodiment? What did that feel like for
Right.
them to do it? What vibration were they at, and can my body show me what that vibration is?
Right. Absolutely. It's just your perspective of it. Somebody said, what is this? It says, ah, the world, he puts nothing on the world. It's so, in a nutshell, if you, if you see, uh, whatever you see, you can do, right?
Yes.
The only thing stopping it is you're getting your own way, right? If you're not getting what you want, you're in your own way. Nobody can stop you
Yeah.
from getting anything,
Yeah,
but you can stop yourself.
you may not be creating bread, but you might turn around and all of a sudden you become an excellent healer of people's bones or something. You
Absolutely.
go, wow, I can
Right.
now heal a broken bone. And the vibrational advancement, what I see is very nonlinear. It surprises us. It pops up in various ways.
I I don't think anything is linear.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we say it is, and then we create this linear thing, but it's not linear,
Hmm.
right? It's like we're not seeing reality for what it is. But we say it's linear, right? So then we create this whole world of linear things, but from a higher perspective, nothing is linear,
Yeah.
right? Like there's no past, present, future, right? The past is in your mind, you're making it up. The future's in your mind, you're making it up. It just happens now. They're just simultaneous, parallel lives that you're living. You're jumping back and forth between them like trains on a train track,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what? So if you feel like you want to do this, hop on this train. If you feel like you want to move back over, hop over. That's what. So that's why in the spiritualist movement we don't do a lot with reincarnation, because reincarnation would mean that I'm going to drop this life and I'm going to go into in linear. But
Hmm.
if it's parallel, synchronous, all at the same time, then I can jump into anyone I want.
Wow, I never understood it that way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, as we've been talking, it just feels like my heart is very expanded. I'm enjoying this, and it's building consciousness that way. And as
Hmm.
listeners out there, just think about what's going on in your heart and how you're just open to these ideas, not trying to make them right or wrong, or I agree or I don't agree. It's more like, well, I wonder what Cledstone's reality is that he would say
Hmm.
that, or like,
Hmm.
what is that vibration like? And
Right.
then it just comes inside of you because all your blocks, you just moved them out of the way so you could really receive it.
Right. Right. So what I was saying earlier is there's no right or wrong. That's what we give it.
Yep,
Right.
yep, yep.
It's just an event.
Yep.
And then we say it's right or it's wrong. And if we say it's right, our life goes this way. If we say it's wrong, our life goes this way. But the event is just the event. And everything in
Mm.
the world is just events. And then we take it and make it what we want. And then our life goes that way. That's what I was
Yep.
trying to get to
Yep.
earlier. But we give it, this is negative. And so it matters not to the thing, it matters to us. Because if I keep thinking it's negative, I'm taking money from my bank. I'm taking
Yeah.
money from my
Yeah.
bank. If I see it as positive, I'm adding to it. But the thing is just a thing, and we just give it what we want, right?
Yeah. And sometimes it does, even if you get into a negative circumstance, for example, yesterday, run into a friend I hadn't seen in 6 months who had an agreement with a mutual friend, and they were no longer friends. And you could see the sadness he had from all of that because we're
Mm-hmm.
a close community.
Mm-hmm.
What could I do? Not judge my other friend, not
Mm-hmm.
judge him, but just open my heart and be present with him and just say, I wish you the best.
Mm-hmm.
Hearts with you, and it's very true. I just supported that man, and yet I was very sad,
Mm-hmm.
but there wasn't a judgment. It was just something that experienced. And so once the conversation was over, I walked away without an attachment,
Right.
because I did my best, opened a
Right.
heart, and there wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
judgment.
Right.
We open ourselves to a greater possibility.
Right.
And thinking of greater possibilities, you were on the show about a year and a half ago, and you really have one of the largest crystal skull collections, and you use these for healing. And could you share a little bit about how crystal skulls would apply to this in your life?
So that is going to be, so we use them for healings. And so healing is going to be just a mediumistic energy share, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we do with them is, again, they're made of crystals. We're made of crystal, so we have some affinity, so we can communicate with the crystals or the crystal skulls. And so what we ask is that, what our task is, to create a place or space where we can offer healing up to the universe. Not for
Mm,
anybody specific, but just so that we can add to the healing energy. Right. And if somebody over yonder wants some and they ask for it, then that energy is available to them. We do add names to certain lists for certain people that ask it, and which is fine. But usually we don't say we want to heal the world. We just is like, let's just offer this healing energy, right? So that whoever needs it, it's there for them.
wow.
And so this is one of these other mediumistic things, is that the crystals, as it is carved into a crystal skull, it has a certain energy to it. Like everything that's important to us is in our head mostly, right? And so what happens is, when we are dealing with the crystal skulls, it's almost like they attract they bring information to us, right? Like sometimes, I don't remember what I spoke about when I was here with you the last time, because we get in this certain space and we let the energy from source come through the skulls, and it comes out my mouth, right? So we just use them. We're just using them as a tool, because again, we can connect directly to source, but we're using these as stepping stones, right?
Yeah.
And so they bring in energy. Again, we know that every rock knows where every other rock is. Every crystal knows where every other crystal is. Every skull knows where every other skull is. Every tree knows where every other tree is. And so we just grab information and bring it into this, like, now space, this
Mm,
dispensation of time. We just bring it all in. So they're just tools to help you connect to source, other family members here or far away. We just use them to do that. Sort of
and
like a library.
yeah. So, if I understand you correctly, the human body has a crystalline source within it.
We are crystals. We're made up of water. Water's made up of crystals, right? So we're just
Yeah.
a big old crystal.
That sounds
just like
wonderful.
everything else. Yeah, the earth is a big old crystal. Everything has crystals in it. So we were made of this thing, and so we have this affinity.
Yep.
We don't talk about it, but we do. And so all this information is available to every single person, right? You and I were just making this information available to everybody else who's open to it, right?
And so, if you want to experience Cledstone's work, uh, check out Cledstone Jordan, Cledstone. Check him out on Facebook. Become his friend. Start getting in that community. Um, it really sounds like that's a lot what it is continually magnifying the communities that wish to receive this type of crystalline source.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
it branches out to those that are on the exterior of that. There's no good or bad people in this scenario.
Mhm.
It's those who are participating and those who are not participating, maybe.
Right. Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
there's no the way I look at it, there's no good or bad. There may be something that I don't like, but then for me, it's like, what are you here to teach me? What can I learn from this experience? Right.
Yep.
And then I can switch that to something positive. Right. And every time I go back there, it's positive. Getting whooped for stealing. When I was really young, I went back there and it's like, oh, the lesson was I got whooped, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't supposed to steal. So when I go back, it's not a whooping. When I go back, it's a lesson.
Yep.
So everything that we
Exactly.
call negative, we need to go back and what was the lesson there for me? Was
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
it again, or be a be a better thief, or whatever the lesson is. Right? There's a
But
lesson there that you can switch it around that will benefit you now. And then even we're talking about healing. If I'm healing myself now, I'm healing myself back then too, right? And
exactly.
I'm healing myself
Exactly.
as I'm go forward, in other lives. So it's all inclusive. That's the word, inclusive. Everything is inclusive, right?
Indeed. So I want to ask you one last question. We're coming to the end of the
Yeah.
show.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just want you to think about it, but I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to do my closing comments and then come back to you, Cledstone.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, what is your final message that you'd like to impart upon everybody? Uh, just as a final message.
Okay.
Uh, and you have been listening to Cledstone Jordan of Austin, Texas, Vice President of the Austin Spiritualist Church on 42nd and Avenue D in the Hyde Park neighborhood, just north of the University of Texas campus. A quaint church where they do spiritualist mediumship work. It's a part of spirituality. It's not a religious church per se, a spiritualist church per se. You can find Cledstone on Facebook and other mediums. If you just Google Cledstone Jordan, Cledstone, Jordan, you'll find him. Crystal Skull Healer. Also does lectures at the Spiritualist Church. My name is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. And next week we are going to be in Egypt with Tina Kinney Clark, talking about sites there. That'll be really fun. And also, you're on United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of New Orleans. Also on Roku, Facebook, X, and YouTube, and the UPRN website and other internet platforms all around the world. So, Cledstone, what parting wisdom do you have for everybody?
My elevator speech is the law of attraction, right? It's very, very, very important. You're doing it to yourself, right? What goes around comes around. So if you keep saying something over and over and over, guess what? You're going to create that thing, right? And you don't have to, the law of karma, you don't have to wish it on anybody because you
Mm,
can't. You can only wish it on yourself by thinking it. So be as positive as you can, as much as you can. You can start with 51% of the time and build it up, and that will benefit you far, far, far into the future.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Cledstone. Uh, and I'll see you at the Spiritual Search Church sometime in the future.
All right. Thank you for having me on, Bart. It was a pleasure. We got to do this again. Let's not wait a
Indeed.
year and a half.
All right. All right. We'll
All
see you
right. Thank
later,
you, buddy.
everybody.
All right. See ya.